Hi, my name is Jeremy Brunansky, and you're about to watch a brand new episode of Brunansky's Vlog. This is a weekly show that drops every Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on YouTube. In this show, we cover movie news, movie reviews, and a little bit more. If this is your first time with us, consider clicking that subscribe button. For everybody who's returning, thank you so much. And as always, if you enjoy any portion of this show, give me that thumbs up button. Let's go ahead and cut now to this week's episode. Good morning! It's Monday morning, which means it's time for another episode of Brunansky's Vlog. This is episode 15. Now, if this is your first time joining us, thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoy what we have to offer here, because every Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we take a look at movie news, movie reviews, and a little bit more. Also, if this is your first time visiting, make sure to give us a click on that subscribe button. And if you're returning, thanks so much for your continued support. We appreciate you guys joining us every week for a brand new episode. All right, I don't want to waste much more time on this introduction, but I do want to say that you should definitely stay until the end for Certified Rad. Now, if you're into sports, this is going to be your week, because this week for Certified Rad, no spoilers, but we do dive into a little bit of the sports world. Let's go ahead now and get on with this week's episode. This is episode 15. You're watching Brunansky's Vlog. Thank you so much. And let's cut to the news. In the news this week, in an interview for the new film The Snowman with the Norwegian Broadcasting Corporation, director Tomas Alfredson said, "It happened very abruptly. Suddenly we got notice that we had the money and could start the shoot in London. It's like when you're making a big jigsaw puzzle and a few pieces are missing so you don't see the whole picture." Link for the article in the show notes below. So if you're like me and you enjoy kind of like those crime, psychological thriller dramas, etc., you may have seen the previews for The Snowman and been like, ooh, this could be good. This could be good. Now, if you saw last week's episode, I talked about how the film's trailers and the marketing for it intrigued me enough that I was like, okay, this could work. But I didn't actually get out to see it. So The Snowman came out, and then all of a sudden, the day before the film, like, the embargo must have lifted, because all of a sudden it was like one Twitter headline after another about The Snowman. The Rotten Tomatoes score doesn't bode well for it. Like, it's just not doing well at all. So that turned me off immediately. I was like, well, I posted it on Twitter. I was like, I won't be seeing this film because I'm not going to spend my money on a film that's so across the board poorly received. It wasn't like a mix of it's kind of good, but it's not good. Like across the board, it was just looked like everyone who had any insight on it was like, this film just does not work at all. So why would I spend my money on it? And why would I have you guys, or why would I encourage you to spend your money on it? It doesn't make sense, because we're looking at film and how to actually choose the films that might be worth our time and money on this show. So the article came out. So the interview, that what we just talked about there in that last segment, came out, and he said that he gave like an approximation of a percentage of less than 20%, but he said that was the amount of the script that didn't get filmed. So there's this big chunk, almost a fifth of the story that they didn't get to shoot. And that's why he was like, it just didn't work. Like the film didn't work. So they rushed it. They didn't take their time with it, and they had this incredible cast in it and everybody working on it. You're just like, you're looking at the movie poster, right? And you're just like, wow, this movie is stacked with talent. And then they didn't shoot almost a fifth of the script. Like, it's nuts. So if you are curious about should you see The Snowman or not, I would encourage you, after this news article that is available below, along with all the other links and everything else for the show, all below in the description, so you can check that out. But I'd encourage you just to kind of stay away from this film unless it hits DVD and you're like, no, I really just want to see like how bad this film is. Like, how do you shoot a film that's missing, that much of the story, that much of the script? Like, they made a movie, but they didn't even shoot the entire script. Like, it's just so weird. So if you're thinking about it, if you have any inclination at all and you are like, I totally should see this film, do us all a favor and Mystery Science Theater it, right? So In the link below, you can find some items for tech gear and stuff like that for making your own videos and your own online content. Check that out. And then post up those videos of you guys doing the Mystery Science Theater commentary over the film when you do watch it once it arrives on Blu-ray, and kind of give the world some more laughs there. Naomi Watts will be starring in the psychological thriller The Wolf Hour, which will have a Hitchcockian-style tension, according to an article by Variety. Link for the article in the show notes below. So you tell me you have a psychological thriller crime drama. You have my interest, right? My ears are up. I'm interested. Give me your pitch. Tell me your idea for this film. Because anything that tickles the brain and makes me think when it comes to like drama and stuff like that, I'm intrigued by those movies. I may not see those movies, but I'm intrigued by those movies. When I heard this, I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder what like the time period. Is it going to be modern? Is it going to go back? And it is going back to the time of Son of Sam in New York. So back in the 70s, right? And if you aren't familiar with Son of Sam, he is, as far as serial killers go, he's a famous one, right, in American history. So I wanted to do some research just real quick before this episode to make sure that I had the information so I could tell you it, because it's really kind of odd. Like here's what happened. So there was several shootings that he did. I've got my notes here, so you have to bear with me. So there were several shootings that he did between the summer of 76 and 77, 1976 to 1977 in New York. And in August of 1977, the cops found him. Now, he claims, this is where it gets really like, this guy was nuts. His neighbor Sam has a dog. The dog's name is Harvey. And apparently a demon, he didn't bother to tell us the demon's name, unfortunately. I feel like that would have made the story a little bit more intriguing. When you go out and you have conversations with dogs, I don't think we ever assume those dogs are possessed. So he's talking to possessed demon dog Harvey. And this dog tells him, okay, so we are going to need you, to go out and kill a bunch of people. And he looks at demon-possessed dog Harvey and he goes, yeah, this makes sense. So he does it, right? So it's going to be, now you add that kind of bizarre, weird, like, what is wrong with you kind of atmosphere to a story with, Naomi Watts, who's an incredibly talented actress. And I'm intrigued. I'd like to see a preview. If you're the type of person that is into like those TV shows about serial killers and stuff like that, this is probably going to be right up your alley. I was really excited when they used the word Hitchcockian, because you tell me it's an Alfred Hitchcock movie on TV. I have, Alfred Hitchcock Presents, the TV show I grew up on. And that was on Nick at Night, so I'd stay up late and watch those. Like, there's just a lot of good tension and layers in the story that you can use when you start looking at how Alfred Hitchcock made his films. So if you're in TV shows, so if you're going to use that kind of style in telling this bizarre story, you have my interest. I'm curious, and I'm looking forward to seeing the first trailer, and I hope you guys are too. Sound off below. The UTA, the United Talent Agency, and the Jim Henson Company have signed a partnership that will expand Henson's feature and primetime television slate, virtual reality, gaming, and other digital initiatives. The company is currently in production on The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance for Netflix. So if you're like me, you enjoy the Muppets, right? And I think a lot of people do. The Muppet movies had that resurgence. Like, I think everybody likes the Muppets. People still, myself included, love Kermit's version of The Rainbow Connection. There's still a lot of love for the Muppets. But what's the UTA? Like, why is them signing with the UTA a big deal? I did some research, right? My due diligence to bring you guys the news. And here's what the UTA is and who they've worked with and why this is important. So the UTA has been working with clients like Lauren Kasdan, Larry David, the Coen brothers, Steven Soderbergh, Johnny Depp, Vincent D'Onofrio, Joan Cusack. And then in 2007, they formed the United Entertainment Group, who worked with companies, big companies, right? Like Procter & Gamble, Nestle, Starbucks, Avon, The Pottery Barn, AT&T, Frito-Lay. And then in 2015, they started a music group with clients like Muse, Paramore, Kanye West, Mariah Carey, Chris Brown, DJ Khaled. So you have this gigantic media conglomerate that works with everybody who's from directing to acting to music to Fortune 500 companies, right? And now they're going to be working with the Muppets. And I don't see what's not to love about this news. After I was looking over like what they do and who they've worked with, I was like, this is phenomenal, because now we might be getting even more Muppets. Like they're talking about virtual reality, they're talking about gaming, stuff like that. That's cool if that's what you're into. But if you're like me and you're like, just give me some movies, give me some TV shows or some online content, right, that we can stream through either Amazon, Netflix, Hulu, whoever. This is great news for us, especially if you are a Muppets fan, or if you're a parent of kids who love the Muppets, right? Because then you've got all this new Muppet content for your kids that's going to be coming, and we can rest assured that it's going to be top quality content, because that's the caliber of delivery, the high quality caliber of delivery that UTA brings. And we already know that we're getting high quality from Jim Henson Company. But I think we can get excited about the future of the Muppets and kind of what they're going to do, right? And because they don't do just the Muppets, they do puppetry and everything else and special effects for other movies and stuff like that. But it's going to be cool to see like what we get from the Jim Henson Company. Director Josh Boone announced that when he approached Fox, he had plans for a New Mutants horror trilogy. The New Mutants film is set to be released in theaters April of 2018. The link for the trailer is in the show notes below. Now, if you're like me and you've already seen the trailer, you may have been caught off guard. Whether you were pleasantly surprised or confused, perplexed, or happy, I was caught off because I was like, wait, is this X-Men? Because this looks like a Cure for Wellness meets like something else. Clearly, the story captured the attention of Fox and the director Josh Boone, who wanted to present this. But the fact that he came out and said, look, I want to do this as a trilogy, that has me concerned. And here's why I'm concerned that he initially set out to do a trilogy. He didn't come into Fox and be like, I just want to make a movie. He came into like, okay, guys, girls, whatever. I have got an idea for 3 pictures based around X-Men's The New Mutants, and here's my pitch. And so for me, when I hear that, I go, well, we don't even know if this first one's going to be good. Like, we don't even know if the public is going to widely accept, probably PG-13, right? Probably, if it's X-Men, a PG-13 asylum horror movie with mutants and their powers. We don't know how it's going to be received. It's not just like, I want to make a movie and I'm going to tell the story and then we're done. And then, oh my goodness, look how widely accepted it was. Look how much money this film made. Let's make more. Thank goodness I had the foresight to have ideas written down for movies 2 and 3. That's not what's happening. He's like, I'm going to tell 3 movies. If people go out like you and me and we see this film and we're like, ugh, well, we just got part of a story. That's why I'm concerned. We just got part of a story because we know from what he just said, it's 3 films. It's 3 films. The story is going to unfold in 3 films. That's his idea, right? I'm like, well, now we have to hope the first one's good, because if the first one's not good, we don't get the rest of the story. We're just left with like this like weird, like, well, that was different kind of film. And where do we go from there? Like, we don't get the resolution of the story. There's no resolution on the conflict, right? Part of the story may resolve, but if it's a 3-movie story arc, we're only going to get that first third. So we're only going to get to experience approximately 33% of the film, or 33% of the story in one film. And it's like, ooh, I don't know. Like, can't you tell us the story? And then if more develops, then cool, it develops. But like, let's get one under the belt and let's see if people like it. Like, outside of the first Blade movie, I can't really think of like a mutant or Marvel film that's been horror-esque, really, that's been like super successful. The first Blade was really good. Second one, not so much. The third one was kind of just popcorn fun. Well, the first and the second, people go back and forth because the second one was Guillermo del Toro. There's not been a big outcry, right? There's a big outcry for horror because horror movies, as we'll discuss later with, what came out in theaters this weekend that made money, you'll see, again, we have horror movies really doing well right now. But that could just be because we're coming off of how well and how successful it was. And also we're in Halloween, so people are more, they're kind of predisposed to Halloween and horror movies right now in this time of year. So we can't really say with 100% certainty, I feel, that horror movies are doing great because the horror movies themselves are great, or if people are just predisposed to be excited about horror movies because of the time of year we're in, and because they're still running the high of it. So So we'll have to see. This is like, I heard this news and I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, I don't know if I can be excited now, because if the first movie's not good, if New Mutants isn't good, I hope it's good, because I don't want to go see a movie that sucks. But I hope it's good, because then I can get the rest of the story. But if it's not good, they're probably not going to make 2 and 3, which means we aren't going to get the full story that Boone had in his head when he sat down to make the first film. Sound off below if you disagree. The honorable mentions this week: Lionsgate and Dubai Parks and Resorts have announced the grand opening of the brand new Hunger Games theme park at Motion Gate Dubai, the Middle East's largest inspired theme park. Nicolas Cage is currently fighting a Japanese corn snack that has his picture and name on it. Justice League dropped a new movie poster. Netflix finally announced that The Punisher will be available for streaming and or binge watching November 17th on Netflix. Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige says a female Thor in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is a possibility. All right, and that is it for the news this week. As always, if anything popped off in the news that you saw and you were like, this was super dope, why didn't you talk about it? Sound off below in the comments, and we can keep the conversation going all week long until next week's episode. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and move now into the next segment. If you enjoyed any portion of the news, go ahead and give me that thumbs up, and we're going to go ahead and cut now to our movie reviews. Storms have ravaged country after country to the point that humanity's very existence is at stake. The nations of the world come together to build a series of satellites to fight and combat Mother Nature to extend our time on planet Earth. Does Geostorm actually live up to the wild storms promised in the trailers, or is this film a wash? Let's go ahead and take a look in this review. So the trailers actually did a really good job of portraying what the film was actually going to be about. We get all the wild weather, all of the crazy storms, plus a little bit more. The story itself is a bit predictable. The dialogue does feel like something that would be more in line with like a made-for-TV movie. But overall, it delivers on what's promised in the trailers, meeting the expectation I had when I walked into the theater and sat down in my seat. So the one area in this film where I sat back and I went, that was a bit goofy, was actually the main villain. In the trailers, we actually get a sense that there's someone, somewhere, actually using this brand new satellite to cause all of this destruction, all of this terror, and is just wiping out countries and the people and the population that inhabits those countries. Which is true. However, once they actually figure out who the villain is and actually move on the villain to capture him, there's a little bit in the film at that very end moment where I went, oof, this was wild. Fortunately though, for me, from start to finish, I didn't suffer a single eye roll, which, again, is to the credit of this film and how enjoyable it can be if you go in with the right expectation. The villain, at the very end, felt very similar to something that you would find in a Scooby-Doo animated TV show. They capture the villain, he's just caused mass destruction across the globe, almost killed the President of the United States, and as they're carting him away, the President goes, wait, as the villain is giving his soliloquy. I was sitting there waiting for him to like twirl a mustache. The only thing that would have made this villain just a little bit better, in my opinion, is if he would have said that infamous line from Scooby-Doo. Well, I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for these kids, because that's how the villain felt. He felt like a villain from a Saturday morning Scooby-Doo cartoon. So overall, the film delivered on what it promised to be. It's a decently written, overly goofy, special effects driven, wild weather adventure on the big screen with a Scooby-Doo villain. This film isn't going to win any awards, and I don't think it was intended to. I truly believe that everybody who was making this film knew exactly what film they wanted to make, because everybody seemed to be enjoying their time on screen, even though at times it is a bit goofy. You could tell they knew what they signed up for, and they were going to have fun with what they signed up for. Now, this film is only going to get one high five from me, because this is not a great film at all. It's actually kind of bad, but it was so much fun, and I believe that it was celebrating and reveling in its badness that I have to give it at least one high five, because it feels like, again, they walked in going, this is the film we're going to make, and we made it. So Geostorm is in theaters right now, and I am going to recommend that you guys check this out on the big screen, but at a matinee price. Don't pay full price for this. If you've got a boyfriend, a girlfriend, your BFF, if you just want to go catch a movie before noon for like $5 and then go grab some coffee or something afterwards, this is a great film for that because you can sit down, have a goofy fun time in the theater watching all the crazy weather special effects, and then go grab some coffee afterwards and talk and laugh about what you just saw. Geostorm is in theaters right now. Check it out before noon for matinee prices so you can see it for cheaper, and definitely visit your local movie theater. So typically this is the part of the show where we actually go over the box office numbers from the weekend, the top 5, etc. Going forward, we're actually switching it up a little bit. As I stated in last week's show, this is going to have a new format going forward. So the box office breakdown report is actually going to occur separate from the show. It's going to be part of the Facebook live streams, which are still going to happen on Monday. So after you finish watching this, you'll want to jump over to the Facebook page, Brunansky's vlog, and you're going to want to just tune in for that, and then we'll cover all of the box office there because it's actually more efficient for me with regards to trying to get everything written, recorded, edited, and published on this page to do the box office separate, and it allows for more consistency to deliver this show to you guys by 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every single Monday. So there was a lot of thought that went into this change. So if you're watching this right now on YouTube, thank you so much. I hope you click subscribe, and also jump over to the Facebook page because we're going to be doing more Facebook live streams going forward. Mondays, we will cover the box office breakdown. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look now at what's coming out in theaters this weekend. Jigsaw, thank you for your service. All I See Is You, Suburbicon. Out of these 4 films, I mean, there's a lot in theaters right now that I need to catch up on. This week, I mean, last weekend we talked about how there was a lot of good movies coming out. This weekend it appears to be a little bit of the same thing. I haven't been interested in a Saw movie since the first one. I really thought the first one was an enjoyable psychological thriller meets detective meets horror thing. There was a lot mixed into the first one, and when I walked out of the theater I was like, wow, they really put a lot of thought into that story, and I enjoyed it. The second one, everything after the second one I was like, nope, they've lost it. They tried so hard in the first one, and then but Thank You for Your Service looks good. It looks like it's going to kind of follow that same emotional impact, that punch to the heart, the punch to the gut that Only the Brave has. I still need to see that. But it looks like this is going to be a really good movie. It's Miles Teller. He's got 2 dramatic pieces out right now, so I don't know if he's just vying for Oscar position with these 2 dramatic films, but Miles Teller is a phenomenal actor, so I'm looking forward to seeing both of these movies, and I hope I can just do a double feature day and then just be emotionally exhausted by the end of that day. And then finally, with regards to what I'm interested in seeing, Suburbicon. George Clooney directing this, the Coen brothers writing it. I think it's going to have a kind of an interesting vibe to it. I don't think it's going to be your standard kind of dramatic Coen brothers dark comedy kind of thing. It will have those elements, right? Because the Coen brothers wrote it. With George Clooney directing it, I think we're going to get something just a little bit different than what we're expecting, and I hope that's the case. All right, so let's go ahead and move now into DVDs and Blu-ray releases so we can find out what's going to be available for your home theaters this week. War for the Planet of the Apes, Annabelle Creation, The Emoji Movie, an Inconvenient sequel, Truth to Power. Now, if you didn't get an opportunity to check out War for the Planet of the Apes, I am going to recommend that you definitely check it out now that it's going to be available on DVD and Blu-ray, especially if you've enjoyed this new series and the overall franchise. Also, I'm going to put a link here so you can check out my review of War for the Planet of the Apes, and you can just check that out either right after this video or just jump to it and then come back to this video, however you want to do it. I definitely recommend you watch my review and you see this though. It was a really good film. Spoiler alert. Annabelle Creations, another one. I didn't see it because it's along those lines of just the horror genre. Again, with Annabelle Creations, it's Happy Death Death Day. We've been seeing a lot of these horror-ish films making decent money in the theaters or making insane amounts of money in its case. You know, maybe if you like the horror genre, you're going to want to check out Annabelle Creations. And if you do, if you saw it in theaters, sound off in the comments below and let us know what you thought about it, because it is, you know, it's adding on to the Annabelle world, if you will, building on the mythos. So let us know what you thought about Annabelle in the comments. Next, the Emoji Movie and an Inconvenient sequel. With the Emoji Movie and an Inconvenient sequel, I feel like these movies are going to come out and then they're going to be moved immediately to the $5 bins at Walmart. All right, and now we're going to move into Certified Rad. And again, this is the segment where we take a look at, you know, something that's happening in the news that just kind of pops off, or a piece of tech gear, or a book. Previous Certified Rads, we've talked about people helping people. We've had a tech gear review. We did some psychology, philosophy, and self-help discussion on some of the books that I've been reading for World Mental Health Day that we just had, you know, a couple weeks ago. It could be anything, right? You never know what's going to happen on Certified Rad, which kind of makes this segment of the show special, in my opinion. So Certified Rad this week. So we just had the playoffs finished, right? The Dodgers won. The Dodgers are going to the World Series. And now, you know, we had 7 games against the Astros and the Yankees, and the Astros won in Game 7. Congratulations to the Astros. Congratulations to everybody that is part of the management team, the ownership, the fans, everybody involved with that win. There's a lot of baseball that happens between spring training to getting to the World Series. So that's a long haul to make it that far to get to the World Series. So congratulations to you guys. I know everyone's probably super pumped that's a fan. I mean, this is the first, I was looking at the news, like just to kind of get some back info on what is so special about this World Series in particular. And according to an article I read, this is the first time in 47 years, 2 teams had 100+ wins that are facing off against each other in the World Series. So it's not just a big deal because it's the World Series, which warrants a big deal by itself. But this is a big deal because you've got these 2 teams that did so well all season long that now they're going up against each other, really trying to show the country, and as well as the rest of the world that likes baseball, who the best team is right now in Major League Baseball. So congratulations to everybody in the Dodgers camp. Congratulations to everybody in the Astros camp. This week's Certified Rad segment is going to give that Certified Rad stamp to the Astros fan. Winning in Game 7 is a big deal. There's a lot on the line. There's a lot of stress. Astros, you guys really pulled it out. So congratulations. And I hope that everybody who's watching the World Series has a great time watching the Dodgers and the Astros go head to head. All right. And that is it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for joining me again for another episode here on Brunansky's vlog. I hope that everybody who's watching has enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and give me that thumbs up. Also, if you haven't clicked subscribe, now would be a great time to do that, because our goal right now is to climb to 100 subscribers. So if you can help us out with that, we would appreciate it. So click that subscribe button, give us that thumbs up. Also, make sure you're following us on all of the social media down below, because that's where you'll be able to get a little something extra throughout the week, because I try and keep each piece of social media just a little bit different and a little bit unique, so you actually understand why you're following it. I don't post the same stuff across all the platforms, because then why would you follow all the platforms? You'd only need to follow one. So I try and give you guys just a little bit something special on each one. So make sure you're following us along on each of the platforms below, and definitely check out that Facebook Live session we're getting ready to do, because we're going to look at Monday's box office and take a look at who the top 5 films were, and maybe we'll talk about 1 or 2 news topics that dropped Monday morning that we weren't able to get to for this show. So you never know. Check out the Facebook Live session that's going to be dropping here very soon. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Again, if you haven't clicked subscribe, please do that. Give me the thumbs up. And as always, we will see you next week for a brand new episode of Brunansky's Vlog. Have a great week, everybody. See you on Facebook Live.